All right.
Showtime.
So, yeah, Mike Curotto, man. It's great to see you again. It's been 2 years.
2 years. Here we go.
3.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, 2019 was the last show you were at, right?
Yeah, I missed 20 and 21.
And this is now 22.
So 3 years since you've been to the show.
Yeah.
Wow. And then this is one of our first 3-person podcasts here.
Yeah, good.
My dad's
Okay.
joining us as well.
Yeah.
I'm in good company.
Fun stuff. Mike's been coming out to the show forever. Mike and I go way back from the early days of eBay when we first met through buying stuff on eBay. And it's always fun to do the show because Mike comes out, stays with us, comes out on the Thursday, we hang, and we got Friday, we load in, and we go running around with money falling out of our pockets trying to buy stuff. Right. And it's a nice weekend, fun weekend. We get to see all our old friends, too, all our,
exactly.
our compadres in the vintage drum business.
Wait for that, hopefully, that one great drum coming in.
Yeah. But what do you want to talk about, bud? What do you want to
Well,
leave some time?
I'll ask Mike a couple questions because for people listening, probably a lot of them know who you are. But
I would imagine
probably maybe like 25%, something like that, hasn't heard of you. So you have one of the most incredible snare drum collections in the world, probably the most incredible in the world, complete.
Pretty unbelievable.
With all, maybe you want to talk about that a little bit. We can start with.
Sure. Well, I got started in 1995. I've been playing drums for 63 years, and I've been teaching for 59 years. So this is all I've ever done. And along the line, in my playing days, I had 5 or 6, 7 snare drums laying around, and I knew they were cool.
What was your first snare?
My first snare, I still have it, is a Leedy and Ludwig 5x14 White Marine Pearl. My parents bought a used Leedy Ludwig drum set for me in 1960, 61. Wow. And I kept a snare drum just as a memento from the era.
Yeah.
So about 1995, maybe before, I was reading about vintage drums and engraved drums and things like that. So I kind of got interested. And then I took a couple of my snare drums to a guy in San Francisco named Sam Adato. He had a drum shop. Yep. And we did a deal. He traded me a real nice WFL twin strainer. That I still have, and I traded like a Gretsch and something that I had, and that the bug bit. From then on, it's history.
Yep.
So
it's an amazing collection. I mean, especially the emphasis. I've seen Mike's collection, so it's just crazy. Especially the Black Beauties.
You remember I went with you?
Yeah.
Maybe
long time ago.
15 years ago.
Oh yeah, had to be at least
a little more probably.
Maybe
and
more.
that was probably when we were staying in San Rafael for
for
Chris's
the bass lessons.
We were,
we
used to, we stay in San Rafael when Chris was out there for a bass conference.
You remember that hotel? There was a red neon sign right outside the window of where I would sleep, so it was always, and the weather was just keep the window open.
Oh,
in San Francisco, it's just
place.
always nice.
I mean, Mike's collection, the Black Beauties alone, how many Black Beauties? Like
about 100 plus or minus.
Yeah.
Or if you count engraved drums, gold engraved, silver engraved, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing stuff. And some of the finishes that are beautiful. If you start looking at the drums, the 20s drums, when you start looking at some of the finishes like Rainbow Pearl, Peacock Pearl, things like that, I mean, there's just stunning stuff. Never mind, the metal drums are ornate and beautiful, especially the Black Beauties and the gold, the Triumphals.
Yeah,
I mean, there's stuff, people are listening to this going, what are these guys talking about? They don't even know what we're talking about. But, you pick up one of those vintage drum magazines, not magazines, but books. Like Rob Cook's got the Ludwig book.
Yeah.
You had the book on your collection.
Yeah.
Rob's got the Ludwig book, the Leedy book. There's Roger's a little bit too late, but Slingerland, the Slingerland and Ludwig books.
Yeah,
you contributed to stuff in both those books.
Yeah,
it's amazing stuff. Beautiful drums.
Yeah. So how old were you when you started playing again?
9
years old.
63. Nice. So now you know how old I am.
Sure.
9 plus 63. There you go.
That's great. And did you go to college for music?
I have a degree in music from San Jose State.
Okay, nice.
I was fortunate enough to study with Tony Cerrone, a great percussionist with the San Francisco Symphony.
Great player. Yeah.
Okay. And then any other teachers of note? Like, who was your first teacher when you
my first teacher actually was a guy named Paul Geminani, who now is I heard is like a Broadway something conductor or arranger.
Cool.
And then there was a guy named Paul Olivas. But then the teacher that really got me going was a guy named Mike DeLuca. He has since passed away. And he got me ready to be a professional drummer.
Did he teach out of a shop? So this would have been like your
music
childhood
store,
shop.
Yeah, which is actually the music store that when he went on the road with his band, he gave me a bunch of his students, and that's where I started teaching at that store in 1968.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so do you, to this day, do you teach there?
No, that store closed in '84, so I went to a place called Gelb Music in Redwood City. And
I've seen that written on heads before.
Yeah, Gelb Music,
Yeah, great place. Don and guys out there, great people.
Great store. I've been there since 1984.
You got a great room. Mike's got a great room up there where you can come in, people get recorded, they can see and hear what they're doing.
Do you have
a killing room.
anything people can like watch? Like, do you have any lessons or anything like that that's available online?
I have like
YouTube,
a 4-minute info DVD that if you go to the gelbmusic.com.
We'll put a link in there.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You can see that. And then if you look up Gelb Band, Fox Theater, we used to get together, all the teachers, and play like do a show, So
Sure.
there's a bunch of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, can you just like talk about your collection?
Sure.
A little bit, yeah. Just I don't know, maybe because you have the email you send. What is it, like once a month, something like that?
Yeah, I've been a little off the last couple of months because we're remodeling my house, so I'm in the middle of Dust City here. Yeah. But I do send out articles to friends and fellow collectors, and then I contribute to Not So Modern Drummer. I write an article for them, and a couple of the drum forums. I put my stuff up.
Sure.
So my collection.
I always read your stuff. I don't read many things because I have so many emails I have to get through. But yours, I tend to open up and at least
cool.
Because you never know what's going to be in there.
Well, I add the eye candy with the photos.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, there's always photos, and you see finishes you've just like never seen before.
Yeah, I started out just I like the 1900s to 1940s, and then the real thrust is like the 20s and 30s, the rare finishes. Rare models.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the drum that you're looking for? I remember you told me, like, every show you come and you look for. What is that again? Remind me.
I like to hold my cards close to my chest.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
You never know. Yeah.
I understand.
I hear that there is one available, so I'm just kind of.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah.
I share a ton, but on little things like that, I like to just hold but I'm looking for.
I totally understand. Yeah.
I am looking for a 6.5 by 15 6-lug deluxe, which would be called a Black Beauty.
Okay.
I like to have sets of things. So I have a 6-lug, a 4 by 14, a 6-lug, a 5 by 14 6-lug, a 6.5, and then I have 4 by 15, 5 by 15. I don't have a 6.5 by 15, so I like to fill in the set that way.
How many triumphals do you have?
I have 6. There's 10 known.
10 known, right?
Yeah, 10 known. I have 6 of them.
And are those all the same size?
Some are 4s and a couple are 5s.
Okay.
And one's a 15-inch super, 5 by 15 super.
Wow.
And that 4 is the Wild Rose pattern, which is unbelievable.
And I have 2 Wild Roses.
Right, and then I had come across one from a guy who, I don't know, 20 years ago, but brought a drum in that his teacher gave him, and he opened up the case, and I'm sitting there looking at a 4 by 14 Wild Rose, and the first thing I do is take out the book, and I go, this is the only other one of those that exists, and my buddy's got it. And I showed him, this is what it is right here. And it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think Bob Campbell bought that, didn't he?
Bunny bought it.
Bunny bought it. Oh, he sold it to Bob Campbell.
And yeah.
And
there's a group, but I mean, the Wild Rose,
yeah.
People don't know what this is, but I mean, it's a 4 by 14. That heavy 2-piece Ludwig shell from the 20s is a masterful shell, and guys love it in the studios to this day. You could just get a generic one, meaning nickel over brass, nothing fancy, but it was that shell sound, and guys will still buy those today. But because everybody was so focused on beauty and flashiness and everything else, and the snare drum was the focus of the kit, because all I had was a 28-inch bass drum. There were no toms, okay?
Right, yeah.
So you had
or the
28
Chinese
inch,
toms.
Right. You had a Chinese tack bottom toms, traps. Maybe you got wood blocks, you got temple blocks, little triangles, little splashy cymbals, and a snare drum and a bass drum, and that was it. So the snare drum was very flashy, and so these drums, some of these things are unbelievable. The Black Beauty would be black nickel plated with engraving that brought out the brass underneath it.
Yep.
And with what they called an art gold or copperish looking hardware.
Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Yeah.
But then some of them, these triumphals, were literally in crazy engraving and all 24 karat gold.
Yeah. And satin and then burnished.
Oh yeah, I mean, just this stuff is just off the map. It's exquisitely beautiful.
Well, years ago, one of the first ones I got was from John Aldridge. He said it was one of the earliest flower patterns. It had 4 petals, and then a while after that, remember Liam, good guy.
Long past, but nice guy. Yeah.
He sold me the one you're talking about that had 6 petals.
Yeah.
But a lady contacted me who had the same drum but in 5 petals.
Yeah.
So, and her father was going to throw it away. They found it in a house they bought.
Yeah.
And I said, no,
don't throw it away.
Just come over here.
And when we talk about petals, I mean, there's floral engraving on these, and there is, certain specific, the 10-point floral or the 12-point floral. But there were other, engraving patterns, different number of leaves and whatever.
Yeah.
And there was also, we call it a scroll pattern, like an
Scroll
ocean wave
wave,
scroll pattern. And then various and sundry miscellaneous, unique, crazy stuff. I mean, the workmanship behind those things is just exquisite.
Well, the William S. Hart number 1 snare, that has a whole different pattern.
Yeah, whole different thing. So, I mean, some of this stuff, it's just, it's fascinating to us because it represents superb quality instruments sonically for the era, and still highly sought after today, that shell. But beyond that, the beauty of those things and the uniqueness of them, it's just incredible. They're just, literally, they are museum pieces. It's incredible stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, you've played on every kind of type of drum that they used in those days. What, like sonically wise, what do you think you would maybe what's one that you would use? What's one that you? Because I know you
because you're more a fan of modern drums,
right?
For playing.
Thank you for saving me. Yeah, because I don't want to. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the vintage sound. Personally,
sure.
But you take any of those drums and you put some good heads on it and some good snare wires, they'll all kick.
Right.
Sure.
So my museum pieces, I like to keep them like a museum piece.
Sure.
Calf heads, gut wires, silk wound wires.
Period correct.
Period correct. Snappy. Yep. And, some people question that, and that's cool.
Yeah,
My answer is I have 650 snare drums. I can't play them all.
Right.
Sure.
So in my drum studio, I have 60 modern-day drums. I have Steve Maxwell drums. I have AK drums. I have Craviato, a bunch of Craviatos, some D'Amicos, some Dunnets.
Yep.
Really great drums.
Yep.
And I play those. So the pieces at home, I keep them. That would be like a museum, period correct.
Yeah.
Because again, you can't play them all.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and you've got a Gladstone, which
I got the Charlie Cordes. Yeah.
The Charlie Cordes Gladstone, and I've been privileged to sell many Gladstones, and including the Krupa drum, the Arthur Press drum, the Saul Leslie Beimel kit, the Nick Fatul Gretsch Gladstone. There's some really great stuff out there, and they're wonderful instruments. And it's a funny thing, as much as I'm not a fan of gut. One of the drums I sold, one of the Gladstones was so good. The thin 3-ply shell, it was Gretsch, got his shells from Gretsch. One of the drums I had was a 7x14 black lacquer chrome hardware, if you can call it standard, kind of the standard issue, and it had got snares on it. And I'm thinking, this is just not going to be fun to play because it's really dry and it's very specific. And I could buzz roll the way I play. I could buzz roll at the end of that, and I sat down and went, "This is just unbelievable. This is unbelievable." Well, it was so responsive. It was crazy.
The orchestral guys, like my good friend Bill Wanser or Bill Platt. I'm sure they'll swear by certain instances where they use gut. Bill said, "Man, there's nothing like it."
Absolutely.
It's just for me to play a 2 and 4 backbeat on a funk tune is just not my thing.
No.
Do you tune higher up or more low on your snare?
I tune probably on like a 4x14, maybe a little pop to it.
Okay, some people tune low, some people tune high. Dad, you're always going high for that sensitivity kind of like
I tune high,
real
but
response,
I'm looking for
you tune high,
very, very articulate, sensitivity all across the head. But, I mean, for a solid backbeat drum, 6 and a half by 14.
Yeah.
You might dial it down a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever fits the type of music you play.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
I mean, some vintage drums would work well for some modern applications, and some would be horrible. I mean, it's just like anything else.
Yeah.
The old
It's all-
drums, a lot of them are kind of really dry sounding. Wouldn't you say? Dry, like it's not as like resonant. It's not.
I call it military-like.
Yeah. I mean,
field drum like. yeah.
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 Yeah, and for me, those are the drums I don't want to play
Yeah.
because I would have to work too hard to do the things I want to do. I
Right.
want the drum to
Yeah.
be more responsive to what I'm trying to get out of it, and those are very. I call them very one-dimensional. Some of those are very one-dimensional. They do one thing really well.
But for orchestral to get that sound, man, that's it.
Yeah, this size. It's got gut snares.
Yeah.
It works perfectly for this. And then you put it over to the corner and
Right.
let it come back next time you need to play that.
Right.
If it's Mahler or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and you need that dark snare drum, 7 by 14 with gut. Okay, there you
Not
go.
gonna
Yep.
gonna bring a Slingerland tone flange to a funk gig though.
Yeah, that'd be rough too.
How many of those do you have?
Tone flanges. Ooh, let's see. Well, there's the artist
Wanna
model
talk
tone
about it.
flange.
Yeah,
and then
tell us everything you know about the tone flange.
Okay, well, no, they made 3 different tone flanges from what I've gathered. They made a brass solid, a brass with holes, and like an aluminum with holes. That's
And
kind
for
of.
people who don't know what this is,
Oh yeah, it's like a hubcap.
it's it looks like a hubcap, okay? And it's kind of weird, but it looks like a hubcap. And Slingerland was Slingerland Banjo and Drum
There
Company
you
first.
go.
So the tone flange is like the sound ring on a banjo.
Yeah.
And what they did was they mounted it on the top of the drum,
But they put
but put little
wood screws
wood screws
No
in
bearing
there.
edge.
Right, it's no bearing edge. So this thing is screwed into the top
and a brass ring on top
and
of
a
that.
brass ring on top of that. And what it does is it provides a certain focus to the sound.
Yeah,
it actually
yeah,
does.
yeah.
It's kind of cool. But that's when we talk about tone flange, that's what that thing is,
It's
that
like
ring.
it's like a banjo. It's built like a banjo
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And the fun part is when you have to try to find a head that fits because the tone flange makes it about a 16th inch too big.
Right.
Yep. I have some of those. I always stock them for that very purpose.
And I have a tip for fellow collectors that run into that. If you let's say you have a regular Remo, Evans, whatever head, you get your Dremel tool and cut a little slot on the flesh hoop, the aluminum part.
Yep.
Cut a slot at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock.
I've never
And
done
what
this.
happens when you set it on top of the head, it'll just move out a little bit that it'll fit.
Just enough.
And but it still tightens up and it works.
This is good info.
If you're going to play it.
Yeah.
because they're out there and
They're hard to find.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's not many. And they
No,
didn't
so-
make them for very long.
Well, like
Yeah.
an oversized 14-inch calf head, you luck out on that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We had a green sparkle one that I sold for probably not enough because I think they're worth a lot now. They're worth
tone
way
flange?
more. Yeah, this I sold
yeah.
maybe like right when I first started here. It was a green. You remember that green
remember it,
sparkle
yeah.
one? Green glitter, I think. And
Yeah,
it
it had some issues with it though too, but yeah, it was.
the wrap was
kinda
kind of
cool.
cracked, I think.
Yeah,
and
but it was cool drum.
But they had the artist model tone flange. Then they made a model called the Dual.
yeah.
The Dual, that's the kind of cool because it's really rare. It's a couple of years, I think 32 to 34, something like that.
Can you describe the mechanism?
Yeah,
on
it's,
the Dual?
if you look at a Ludwig Super Ludwig, it's just they tried to copy the Super Ludwig,
Right.
but they got sued for it, and the whole story
And
is they had cease and desist.
And this was
Jeez.
one of these deals where the snares release
Parallel.
in a
Parallel, yeah.
And there's a rod that goes through both sides, the strainer side and butt side, so that when you release, it releases
Like the-
together in
like the
unison.
Super, yeah.
But then they got in trouble for that, so
Right.
then they come up with this little cockamamie wire
little pulley thing, yeah.
system. And I remember looking at one the first time, going, "What the heck is this supposed to be?" And I didn't know the backstory behind
Yeah.
it. Which,
What year would those have come out?
32 to 34, I think, give or take.
Okay,
yeah,
wow.
that's-
Yeah, I bought one from you a while back.
Yeah.
And then they even made another version where they don't have a rod or they don't have any pulleys. So the butt side, when you lift the lever side, if you don't tighten the butt side the right way, it won't go up or down. It just sits there doing nothing. So that's probably their last try.
It was the
before
last
they-
hurrah for that, yeah.
But they're,
There's so
they're
many
extremely
Slingerland
rare,
strainers.
and I love them. I collect them.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
They're very, very hard to come
I don't
by.
think I've seen that. I've seen a lot of your collection because I always read the emails, but I don't think. Have you ever done an email on those?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I just missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one of those that you have in like a rare finish?
I have rose pearl.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have 2 rose pearls. I have one 5x14 and one 6.5x14.
Yeah.
And the
Beautiful.
6.5 I got at the show a couple of years ago before
remember
COVID. Joe Meckler did the.
Yeah.
I saw the drum, and I thought this is going to be a parts drum.
But I remember. I
Yeah.
remember seeing the work after Joe finished. Joe's
Jen-
masterful.
Joe, he brought it to the show, and I go, whoa,
Yeah.
and I bought it. And I said, it's one of the most amazing restoration jobs. This drum was poop,
Yep.
and it was just a mess. I mean, it was parts. That's what I was looking
Yeah,
at.
you think, okay, I'll use it for parts.
He got it back to life.
Was the shell like
It was
compromised?
the shell wasn't cracked or anything. It was just the whole wrap was coming off.
Sure.
He had to mold it back on.
Oh wow,
Oh, it was just hurting.
that's great.
Yeah,
It
but
was an
it was
amazing
one
job.
of it's like to this day it's still one of the best restorations I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. It was. I saw the before and after, so
Yeah.
I know I can attest to
Me
that.
too.
It was absolutely.
Like I said, I thought it was this is gonna be a parts drum.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Joe does good work.
yeah.
But it's great. I mean, I've been a Rogers Dynasonic fan, Wood Dynasonic fan for my whole life. Because I remember when I was a kid, I was looking at the book, the catalog, when they came out like around 60, 61. It's a black and white picture, and it's drum number 1001, the first one. And I used to look at that. Never owned one of these, never owned one. And finally came across one in a music store out here that's now defunct. And it was a guy who bought stuff in the 60s and never sold any of it. He was like hoarding all this stuff. He had a music store, but this guy had Martin acoustics
Wow,
stacked up
Martin.
like up to the ceiling. I mean, just 60s era Martin acoustics. They got to be like 20, 30 grand a piece now.
For those who are listening, we're talking about this is Ziegler, right? Is that the place?
Yeah, it was Ziegler Music in Aurora, Illinois. And
Locals probably know this.
an
place,
interesting, unusual guy, and he's passed away. But when I first went to visit him, I spotted what was a wood Dynasonic, and I said, well, it doesn't look right because there wasn't a badge on it. I said, well, that can't be right, because now I'm kind of young and new to this stuff still. I said, that can't be right. And then I went on, looked at it, and I went, holy cow, it's one of the pre-badge ones. So it was made before the one in the catalog.
Wow.
1001. There were some made before they actually put the badge on the outside. And inside is a paper tag that says Dynasonic.
Man.
So so that was the first one I ever bought. And I kept that for a long, long time. And then I started buying these. And Mike, this is in the beginning days of eBay.
1998.
Right, very beginning days of eBay, and I'm trolling around on there, and then stuff's coming out of the woodwork, like this, and Mike had Wood Dyna, and I got to know Mike from eBay. We met over eBay. I got
Called me
some
on the
stuff.
phone.
Said,
The
"Hey,
days the days you could do that.
That's right, yeah. So it was it was interesting. Yeah, in those days you could say, hey, here's my phone number, call me,
right.
And that goes back. I've known you since then. So that's
1998.
98.
Well, in my early years, I used to have a Ludwig Blue Note outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Double bass drum and the whole thing. Canisters thrown.
Yep.
I had it in Oyster Black Pearl.
Yep.
Ringo days.
Ringo
you know.
days, yeah.
I got it in 1965. And I used it after I stopped doing the double bass drum. I do one bass drum, but I use I bought a Dynasonic in Black Strata because it
Strata.
matched
Close enough
really
to
close.
Black Oyster,
To
yeah.
keep it matched, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I got that drum from you when you
Yeah,
sold it.
yeah.
Because that's Rogers Wood Dynasonics were exceedingly rare, and we're talking about the original ones, not the reproductions that are out there now. The reproductions are very nice drums. I worked in the R&D on those, so they were spec'd against two of my original drums. So those are nice, but we're talking about the original real deals. And there were some interesting drums made back then.
$150.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yep. And so there's some
Do you have
interesting
any
stuff.
wood Dynas now?
No. I
didn't think so.
I had a bunch, but I sold them. A couple of Steve, and I had Roy Burns Wildwood.
Oh,
remember
that's
that.
pretty cool.
I sold that, and
Wildwood is, for those listening,
Yeah.
they like injected the tree with some dye, and then
And that was originally done by Fender for their Coronado guitars.
Cool.
And so if you think about this, at the period of time that this got introduced in Rogers on drums was at the time when they were owned by the same company that owned Fender. So CBS owned Fender and CBS owned Rogers as well. So someone had the idea of, well, they were injecting dye into trees, and then it would cause striations in the wood. And Fender made this series of guitars called Coronados, and there were these different. One had like a greenish tone, one had a orangish tone, and they translated that over and made some drums, some Rogers drums with that.
Did you end up buying the Wildwood one from?
I bought it from Roy Burns, sold it to me.
Oh, where did you sell the one to my dad or?
No, that was a Wildwood Power Tone, I think.
I sold it to
we have a picture on the
the Jollity Farm.
Oh, Bobby Chasen.
He wanted it.
Yeah. The drum I had was a 6.5 by 14 Wildwood.
Wow.
Which was extremely rare.
Yeah, there's an old
and you could
picture
tell
on our site if you look at the
thing with Wildwood, and because it was
archives.
dye, the dye would eventually fade. And so if you had a Rogers kit made in '67, the interiors were coated with either flat gray paint or speckled gray paint. So if the drum was faded on the outside, it was faded Wildwood. You couldn't see any of the grain. On the Dynas aren't coated on the inside. So when we look at that 6.5, that 6.5 I had was maybe a couple of striations on the outside, but inside the shell, all the striations were there because it just kind of seeped into the wood, and striations were still there on the inside. It's very rare to find a Wildwood set that has the finish vibrant and the striations intact on the outside. It's very unusual. They're there, but not many.
Yeah.
That was fun stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, Rogers kind of outside. That's outside your sweet spot.
I had them for a while,
Yeah.
but I'm
But so we're here for the Chicago Vintage Show. Mike's out for the Chicago Vintage Show this year. Going to be full show, which is great. Rob Cook puts this show on every year, and he's done it forever, and we love him for it. Thank you, Rob. Big thank you to Rob.
Definitely.
Last year was the first year back after the mandatory shutdowns for the COVID fiasco. And last year's attendance was okay, but it was still a little bit in the dicey period of time. There were people just starting to get back into it. But
there was no international crowd. And then it was mostly just local.
It was local. Where's many dealers? Illinois, but this year, everybody's rocking and rolling, man. There's going to be a ton of dealers there.
2 people from Austria have already visited the shop today. So
it's going to to be a fun time. We're going to have a good time out there. And, this won't post until after the show's over. So, but we'll have a good time there. We always do. It'll be a lot of fun. Buy a lot of drums if we can.
Ready.
Look for cool stuff and just see our friends, see our old friends that we see once a year at the show.
Yeah, right on. So, but Mike, let me talk to you a little more. So about because you've been teaching for a really long time.
Yeah, 59 years.
Any advice? I know people pay for this, but
No. To gladly share.
Don't give anything too secret away.
No, I'll gladly share. For me, the secret business-wise is find a good store to teach out of.
Yep.
Because you have instant business. People come in. My son or daughter wants to play drums. Okay, talk to Mike. He's upstairs.
Sure.
So that helps. Then you got to, I have a imaginary sign over my head. This is not a hobby. This is a business.
Right.
You run it like a business. We have fun.
Yep.
I got a great studio, fully equipped. We have a good time. I get people to play along with music that maybe they'll never be in a band, but they get to play to some music.
Sure.
And learn how to read and build up their wrists. Yeah. So.
What about what books do you use? Do you have
I use tons.
Okay.
The classics, the Belson 4/4, Syncopation, Stick Control. Roy Burns' beginning book is a great book to start.
Sure.
I teach David Garibaldi's books. He has great books.
I haven't read those.
Oh, they're great books. My favorite.
Played them.
Gary Chafee books. I used to use the Jim Chapin book a lot, but now John Riley. Jim Riley? Wait.
John
Riley.
John Riley. Yeah, his books are really great.
Yep.
I use those.
The Art of
There's
Bebop
even a Joel
drumming.
Rothman book that I use that's a beginning book that for people that never played swing, it's just you ding ding da ding 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 da ding just to get them used to doing that.
Yep.
Beginning stuff like that. I use those books. Funky Primer is a great book to get basic drum beats.
Right.
And then I have a bunch of my own ideas I've written out and
but it's a special skill too, though. It's a special skill because you teach people at many different levels,
right?
And you have to have to be a successful teacher, I tried teaching a little bit as an example, and the only thing I have the patience and skill for. Well, but here's the thing. I'm okay if somebody comes to me and says, "Can you show me a little bit of left-hand technique?" I can do that, but I can't. To be a good teacher, like you've been for 59 years, I mean, you're looking at something where you've got to be invested in helping that person and guide them along. It's not just come in, pay your money, play for 10 minutes, kid, and go away. You're invested in that person, helping them learn. And so you've got to care about each one of those people and how they develop and how they grow.
Yep.
It's not a no-brainer. You just walk in and here, play these pages from the book and go away.
A lot of them rely on me to help them get into jazz band and the mid school and high school and some college auditions.
Right. So it's an obligation, and it's a serious obligation. And there's not a lot of people who can teach. There's some great players who couldn't teach worth a damn, and they know it. So they say, "I don't go there because I'm not good at it."
I think
it's a special skill.
I think it's just as much of an art to teach as it is to play.
Oh, it absolutely is. Absolutely.
Do you think like patience is a very?
If you don't have patience, don't teach. Get out of here. Leave.
Yeah.
Vacate the building. You got to have patience.
You guys have a nice kind of. You probably have some soundproofing in the room too. I
don't really need it because I have 24/7, and down below they don't really hear it.
What? You're always hearing them play because you have students who like really hard hitters.
I have some heavy hitters.
There's been a kids for a while.
Broken head and a couple of cymbals here and there, which is okay.
It was for your ears, not for your neighbors.
They break a drumstick and they look at me like they just committed the sin, and I say, "Hey, here's another stick. Have a nice day. Go for it." Heads break.
What ages do you teach? Is it kind of
6 through 70?
Nice,
6 through 75.
And then teaching like really young kids, you can really build technique. But then some people they don't. I've noticed some kids are like they get it really quick, but then they don't even appreciate it.
It's like everybody's different.
My favorite were the people who like had a little bit more of a difficult time achieving it, but because of that, it meant so much to them.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I've had a 6-year-old. He's been with me 8 years. And,
nice.
Started some 6-year-olds, they'll last for a month, and some stick it out.
Right. You never know.
And
but it feels good if you take somebody and you take them through, and then you see them get into jazz band or into college music programs or whatever. You played a part in that. You helped them get there.
It's still fun. After all, in my playing days, I used to play gigs and then teach 50 hours a week and go play gigs.
Yeah, you should talk about that. We didn't get into that at all yet. What's a fond memory you have of like a band you played in? Or
I played in a bunch of bands, funk bands and Latin bands and
nice
casuals.
Steve Perry was a singer in your band before he was with Journey, right?
No, it was Hubert Tubbs.
No, before he was with Tower of Power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What was that band called?
It was called Blue Mountain.
And is there any way to get to see any of this stuff?
That'd be right. We're talking 1972.
Probably not a lot of video
Any
around.
old VHS you got or something?
I have some old demo tapes and stuff.
Oh, you should.
Performances.
If there's one you really like you should upload it. So
okay. Yeah.
Maybe.
Hubert was my favorite Tower of Power vocalist.
He was great.
Killing.
I think he lives in. I think he lives like in Europe somewhere.
Yeah, he was my favorite Tower of Power vocalist.
But I played gigs all over the Bay Area.
Nice.
And different clubs, jazz clubs.
This would have been like in the
mid 60s starting all the way through 2010 maybe.
Nice.
And then then it just kind of ran its course. And now I just teach like 25 hours a week.
Sure.
It's still fun and I can make some good money at it, but moving on in life. And
were you an endorser ever for any of those?
I got a Zildjian endorsement.
Oh, nice.
It was they called it a regional endorsee.
Cool.
Back years ago, they were kind of cool. They came in. Steve Turpak, remember Steve Turpak?
Yeah,
great guy.
What's your go-to ride?
I have first before that they came in the studio. They had a Zildjian day at the store, and they came in and they asked, "Hey, maybe we can work something with cymbals." And I go, "Oh yeah." They go, "Well, how many students a week do you teach?" And I go, 50. And they go, "Okay, yeah, you're
That's
in."
a lot. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You wear earplugs probably.
No, I didn't.
Really? Wow.
No.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Some are loud, some aren't. So
Sure, and they're probably not all every week.
yeah, and so they gave me a bunch of cymbals.
Yeah.
And that program's long gone, but they were really nice to me.
That's great.
And the cymbal I like a custom dry ride.
Custom dry ride.
And
Okay.
I like KZ hi-hats.
Nice.
I like the 13-inch KZs. 14s are a little big, chunky. I use them on the right side for the X-hat.
What is the custom dry ride? Is that a 20?
Yeah, 20, yeah.
And then does that have rivets or
No.
it's just a...
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
right.
there's also a K custom
Yeah.
that has the finish on it, but the dry ride is unfinished.
So yeah.
Weckl used to use them.
Unlaid. Yeah.
They're
Those are
good cymbals.
nice.
Yeah, and I got some A custom crashes and some A crashes. And I have a great set of 13-inch KZs. I really like those.
Now, do you usually do like one crash or two?
I usually two, like a 15 and a 17 or a 16 and 18.
And what about like bass drum size? What's your what's your
So
favorite?
I'm not a small bass drum guy.
Okay.
I'm not. I used to use an 18-inch Gretsch on certain gigs.
Sure, yeah. A little
But,
easier to
I
carry
use
around.
like 20 or 22.
20 or 22, nice.
Yeah.
I like 20, 13, 16. That's
That's
my
a good
favorite
yeah.
sizes.
Yeah.
Which is, they're like kind of harder to sell, but I just,
Yeah.
12 and 14, it's like I can't quite get the difference in pitch that I want. 13, 16, it's like usually for me.
On
a
my
little easier.
Yamaha set, I have 10, 12, 14, and a 22-inch bass or a 20-inch bass. No,
Okay.
yeah, or an 18 maybe. But I got they offered a thing where the toms were birch and the bass drum was maple,
Sure.
like Gad uses or used. I'm not sure if he still
I don't
does
know.
it.
And that's what you've got?
I have a set of those, and then my
Very
studio,
nice.
I have a white lacquer radio recording custom.
Ooh, that's
8,
that's
10,
cool
12,
finish.
14, 16, 20-inch bass, and a
Yeah.
DW 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 22-inch bass.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You don't have any Gretsch drums in the Cameo Coral finish, do you?
No, I have two
Would
Gretsch.
you collect one of those if you found one? I wonder.
I would probably collect it if it was rare and then sell it, make some money.
Yeah, it's 50s, so it's outside your
Yeah.
sweet spot timing
I
wise.
have two Gretsch gold drums. I have a stop sign badge and a round badge.
And a round badge,
Yeah.
the gold engraved snare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I know you got that.
That was an anniversary thing, or
I don't think so.
No,
what do they call those?
the gold drum.
Gold drum.
Yeah.
Gold drum?
Yeah, I was at a show a trade show in Boston when they unveiled that. I was
Okay.
teaching at a music store, and the guy, hey, we're going in there. So it was killing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You never told me that story before.
Yeah, I used to teach at this music store, and and the guy dragged me over to this thing, and they were unveiling that right there, and it was very, very cool. Very, very tricky. I mean, it's all gold plated.
Yeah.
But the gold plating was so thin.
Thin, yeah. You
thin.
get some that are dogs, boy.
Oh,
They're just
man,
been,
they just look
yeah.
like they've been.
Or you get some that are good.
Are those real gold, or is
Oh, yeah,
that
gold
it's
plating,
24
yeah.
karat gold
Okay.
plating.
Oh, yeah.
But thin plating, and it was engraved, and so it was sort of like a Gretsch version of a Black Beauty, but all gold, and the engraving
Yeah.
wasn't quite as ornate.
Yeah.
But they're nice drums, and
Yeah.
they were right in that period of time when they were switching from the round badge to the stop
Yeah.
sign badge. So some of the drums are round badge and some are stop sign. There's not a lot of them anyway.
Yeah.
maybe Baldwin paid to make those? I wonder.
They advertised it as the most beautiful drum in the world, I
Right.
think.
Yeah. And
The most beautiful drum.
But I've sold a few examples. I've
Quite a
sold a
statement.
few beautiful examples.
Yeah. Lee Ruff had a nice one.
I sold that for Lee. Yeah, it was beautiful. That was
Yeah,
just
that was-
absolutely
yeah.
gorgeous. But yeah, it's a unique piece. But then do you have a Caddy Green?
I used to.
You did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sold it. And just again, it was.
Just
it
a
was
snare.
It was that what, like 60s maybe? Is that where the Caddy
50s.
Green?
Yeah,
Okay,
Caddy
50.
Green, Cameo Coral, all that stuff is right there. It'd be 54
Was it a
to 58.
4x14?
And Copper Mist.
5.
5x4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Copper Mist, Cameo Coral, and
Yeah.
Caddy Green were like 54 to 58.
Joe Kenny bought it from me.
There
Yeah.
you go.
But
Yeah.
yeah, just thinning out the herd to get other stuff. Yeah.
Focus on the things
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like. Yeah. No, that's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe any kind of cool new additions to your collection you want to
Yes, sure.
tell me?
Not
tell
a
me
lot
something.
because I'm looking for the rarest of the rare. So I
Sure.
got one from Steve a couple months ago.
What'd you
Abalone, Leedy, I think it's first or second generation Broadway
Oh, that's cool.
parallel.
Yep.
What did I don't think I even got to see that. Did
Yeah,
I?
you did. We had it here.
Oh, I think I do remember that. Is it like a brown abalone?
It's I think they call it Oriental Pearl.
Right.
Leedy calls it, but it looks like abalone.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah, I saw it very
Yeah.
briefly.
That's a great drum.
Yeah, I got that drum from you.
Yeah, that was a nice
And
drum.
there's another drum we'll be doing a deal on, which I don't want to
Yeah,
speak
yeah,
early
okay,
about.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
got to
yeah.
wait.
This won't be put up before the show, so
Oh.
yeah, keep in mind everything we say here. This will
Oh,
probably
cool.
go up like a week after the show's over.
Okay, well, I hope that
But we'll see.
butterscotch drum comes in, maybe.
We will see. Yes, we will see.
Yeah, don't worry, you're not going to
Yeah.
give away any. This is just for
Okay.
the next week. It's just
Yeah.
between the four
Yeah.
of us. Yeah.
And I got a 5x15 Leedy Marvel nickel over brass from Bill Wanser.
Sure.
Yeah, they're kind of a rare size.
Lee
Marvel strainer
Marvel.
looks kind of like an early Dynasonic. It hangs on the bottom.
Yeah.
Does it work, or does it like
It
every other
works.
ladies
It
trainer?
works, but
Yeah,
it's it's
it was a little weird.
Yeah, if
but
you don't.
yeah. I mean, if you get an old catalog, you can look this up. He is right. Mike's right. Dynasonic has a kind of special strainer that kind of the wires are on a frame.
Yeah.
And the idea there is you bring the frame up to just kiss the bottom head. Then there is a knob on the end that you turn that knob, and then it tightens or loosens the wires on the frame to give you more or less snare buzz. But by you don't just crank the crap out of the strainer knob and
right.
you bring it up to the top, you choke the drum. So
Yeah.
just bring it up to touch with the strainer knob and then adjust it on the frame.
Yeah.
And if you get used to that, it works great. You know, the one we're talking about is sort of like a version of that kind of
Yeah, an
older version
yeah.
of that, actually, because that would predate the Dyna by quite some
Yeah,
time.
And
The-
they sound like they sound like a 1920s snare drum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I would say just pretty dry.
yeah. Some of that
I
stuff's
like
really
that dryness for like funk though. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, yeah, it's you can get like the rim shots.
Yeah.
But then again, yeah, it's not ever going to be as versatile as a modern drum. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
That mechanism, the Leedy Broadway, that's more along the lines of.
Well, the
like,
Broadway parallel
Parallel.
is like the same concept as the
Super
Ludwig
sensitive.
Super Ludwig or the Dual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Or
wonder
the-
which
parallel
company
release.
came up with that first. Was it probably Ludwig?
I think Ludwig. I think the patent is 1924.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think the
And everyone
Marvel
copied
is
them.
the Marvel is maybe around that or before. I think. Don't quote
Interesting.
me on that. And the Leedy Broadway parallel, which would be like a super.
Sure.
I'm not sure. It's probably a little.
You know
bit after.
your stuff, yeah.
it's later.
Well, kinda.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. No, I mean oftentimes I won't even go to like exact dates because it's like
Yeah.
most you don't know it right off
I
the top
can
of your
hit
head.
it within a year or two.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Right.
you're really good
And
at
then
that.
if not, I just call John Aldridge.
For sure.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, he'll
John's
know.
a
He
wealth of
he
information
engraved.
still.
I remember him at the show engraving. Right. He
Oh,
would, he
yeah.
would, like do it
Oh, yeah.
while the show was going
Talk
on.
about patience. No,
Yeah.
just get the gun out and I'll kill myself now. If I had to sit there and
I don't think I can do it either.
And I mean, I
Oh,
watch him
amazing.
do it and I go, oh my God. I mean, I have no patience whatsoever. I would be jumping off the roof. And
Yeah.
he just sits there and he
Whittles
does it,
it
and it's just
oh,
art at the
wriggle.
end. And
I think you call it wriggle motion.
yeah, and I respect it greatly. And I just go, oh my God, I could never do it.
Yeah, he's
Very cool.
He's stepped up his game over the years, boy. He's
It's amazing
nailing
stuff
it.
he does.
There's a couple of guys out there now that are nailing.
Yeah.
John Christian. He's a jeweler.
Yeah.
He's at the
that's-
show.
I think this
Chris-
is he's at the show. I've seen
Yeah,
some of
So
his
he's
work.
gonna
It's very
be-
nice.
He's doing amazing
Yeah.
work.
He uses like it's like electric, I think, right?
There's another guy I saw
Okay.
that uses like a machine too.
Yeah.
He does great. Well, there's a bunch of guys, and then
yeah.
there's Adrian. Hello.
Oh my God, Adrian Kirchler, and the master of metal shell drums. I've always said that. Adrian's the master of the metal shell. Johnny Craviato is the master of the solid wood shell.
Adrian's
Adrian's work is unbelievable.
true
He did-
artisan.
he
True
did
artisan.
A tribute drum, kind of like a gold triumphal that for Johnny
Oh wow.
as that he gave to Johnny's wife. He made as a special gift.
Wow, like the anniversary triumphals from Ludwig.
Yeah, but I mean, it really looked. You remember the Craviato did a 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
Black Diamond,
Yeah,
which was like
yeah.
a Black Beauty.
Yeah.
He did basically like an all gold version of that. That was personalized and he made for Johnny's widow. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece.
There is you remember the Ludwig anniversary, 100-year anniversary triumphals that AK did.
AK did those.
Yeah, there's some cool stories about that if you want to hear it.
Yeah,
if we have time.
That'd be
we can
perfect.
use that, and we can. Yeah, that'll kind of take us right up to.
From what I heard, he was contracted for 100 of them, but only 42 were made. I guess only 42 people worldwide wanted it, and what he did. I emailed them and well, first of all, they had an ad in Modern Drummer that you can get your name engraved on the top rim if you wanted it, and it ran for one issue, and then I don't know what happened. So I through the store I got it, I signed up for it. And from what I'm told, I think it's me and Bunny are the only ones that have that.
Yeah, because I never saw that ad. I didn't
yeah.
even know it was a possibility.
Yeah, maybe Bob Campbell. I'm not sure. But another thing that's really cool is I talked to Adrian. I asked, "Are you going to engrave the lugs like the original Triumphals?" And he says, "I don't know yet." So come to find out, he engraved the lugs on only the ones that were bought by people that own originals.
Oh, there you go. That's
the
cool.
lugs are engraved.
Yeah, the lugs are engraved.
Original Triumphals, the lugs are engraved too.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
But there's,
at least
from what I know, there's 6 owners of all these drums. Me, Bunny, Bob Campbell. And I think me, Bob Campbell, and Bunny are the only ones that got ours engraved. I don't think the others got theirs engraved like that.
Nice.
So
yeah, that's cool.
So there's this little side story.
Fun stories.
What is it like? Is it like
It's
can you describe it?
It's kind of like a little scroll kind of thing with a little. Yeah, it's just
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If you look
like
in Mike's
every
book,
little piece is made.
It's in the book.
Yeah, in Mike's book, the Triumphals are in there, and you can look at what the original
exactly. You'll
Triumphals
see
look like.
there's a close-up of the lug. You'll see it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that was a cool little story.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Well, we should probably we've been.
Yeah,
I
think we
probably ought to
covered a
wrap
lot
it
of
up.
stuff.
We covered it.
Is
Time
there
to go buy
anything-
some drums.
I know.
Yeah. Anything more you wanted to say? Maybe like shout out to a friend or whatever. Yeah.
I thank Steve for letting me stay at his house and pick me up at the airport. I don't have to worry about a car or a
we
hotel.
love when you come in town.
Always great fun. We always have a good time.
I look forward to this so much.
Sure.
So I'm ready to have a good time.
It's a good time. It's good to get together with people you haven't seen for a year, or in some cases now a couple of years, because of this whole thing. And then also gives us a chance to think a little bit about some of the people that aren't here anymore. You know, a guy like Tony Lewis, who is a great collector friend of ours.
Yep.
Johnny Craviato,
Yep.
July of this year, he'll be 6 years gone.
Yep.
But guys like Liam Mulholland, who was a big guy in the vintage, world.
I bought a bunch of good drums from him.
And Barrett Deems, who was always a fixture at the Chicago show. So you take a minute to think about those people, absent friends, as they would say. Take a salute to them.
Absent friend,
But it's a good thing. The show's been great, and the show's a place for camaraderie, with the guys we see once a year, and then new people. And it's great to see. This show is primarily focused on vintage, which is what's beautiful about it, because then you get new generations of people get exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, old guys like us, we've been doing it so long, and people listen to it, I don't even know what the hell they're talking about,
Yeah.
But some people go, I'm curious about that, and let me look into it a little.
Yeah, like I did when I first started. Yeah.
And for all those people, Rob Cook, look, he wrote the Rogers book. He's got the Ludwig book.
Yeah.
He's got the Leedy book. He's got the Slingerland book. This stuff didn't exist when we were young. We had to go find people to help us learn about stuff. Charlie Donnelly educated me. It's now you got all this stuff, so people can come to the show. They buy this book. Rob's got these books. There's material there, and it's history, and people
the
can
drum
go back.
forums have sections on badges and colors and hardware and
And a lot of what we do on my side, I try to educate. We sell rare vintage, and we want to keep that information out there. We want to educate people about it. So, there's another generation of people always coming up the curve going, I want to learn about all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the show's great for that.
Mike,
can I say one thing quick?
Sure,
I'm sorry.
absolutely.
On Facebook, I have Mike Curotto Vintage Drums and Restorations.
Nice.
So if you want to look
Now,
at
I was
some
going
of
to
my
say, if people want to get your newsletter, I'll call it a newsletter, how can they reach you?
My email is mike@curottodrums.com, which is CUROTTO drums, drums.com. You can always get me at that number.
Good deal.
And also access through the Facebook page. You can send you a
Facebook
note through the
page.
Facebook page.
I do restorations. I do. I
Yes.
restore Black Beauties and other drums. I restore them so they look good, but they don't look brand new.
Right.
I keep the age in it.
Right.
And
Do you like do you lacquer stuff? Do you?
I can re-lacquer the black shells.
Oh,
A lot of
nice.
times that lacquer gets chipped and really weird.
Sure.
I got this stuff that strips it off. Doesn't hurt the black nickel.
Nice.
Doesn't hurt the engraving. Polish it up. Clear coat it. And then in the hardware, I can get all the old junky lacquer off, repolish it down to the original Ludwig copper, plating, and then gold lacquer it.
Wow.
And I leave the age in it though.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look phony.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
Very
great.
cool.
It doesn't look like an 80-year-old with a facelift.
Hey,
sure,
right.
sure.
There you go.
And then your collection. Is there anywhere to go like online that people can see the pictures of everything?
Actually,
I don't even know where this is.
vintage.
So it's for me too.
There is a section. He doesn't do it anymore, but it's still up on to check. You can
Okay.
go to vintagedrumstalk.com.
Okay.
And you'll see a page with I have like 12 pages of drums.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that took it over, and I forgot his name. I did a podcast with him. I feel bad that I forgot his name, but he's kind of taken it over.
Okay.
Maybe you can get that from that.
Yeah.
that
We'll see if we
website.
can find
Yeah.
the link and.
And I mean, if somebody
put it
can
in the
find a
description.
copy of your book that's
My
long
book?
out of print.
Right. eBay sometimes or Amazon.
Yeah, the
It's,
Curotto Collection is
yeah.
the name of the book, and that's very much worth having. It was a nice hardbound book, coffee table type book.
Are you ever
and
gonna
the
make any more?
Images are just beautiful.
I have volume 2 in
We'd
my
stock
head.
it.
I just got to get it.
We'd
out
buy
there.
some from
Yeah.
you, right?
Because this was the metal drums.
Yeah, the
volume
metal,
one.
the gold engraved,
Gold
silver.
engraved,
yeah,
and volume
yeah,
2,
yeah.
the idea was, well,
Funny
now all
color,
the unique
yeah,
finishes,
yeah,
the
yeah.
abalones and,
Right.
the peacocks and rainbows, and
Right.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be killing.
Yeah.
Very
Someday.
cool.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. So let's
is
let's
great.
go.
Go buy some drums.
I'm ready.
for sure.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.